Salut! On se retrouve pour la vidéo polonaise.
Alors on a visité 3 villes, Auschwitz, qui est la ville où se trouve le camp d'Auschwitz, Cracovie et Varsovie. On a interviewé des gens dans ces 3 villes. Le seul problème qui s'est posé, ça a été dans la ville d'Auschwitz, car les gens ne parlaient pas beaucoup anglais. On a trouvé qu'en Pologne, les gens parlaient bien anglais dans les grandes villes, mais pas dans les petites villes.
Voilà, donc du coup on aura la vie des Cracoviens et des Varsoviens. En Pologne, le plus grand souci qui se pose pour l'égalité homme-femme, c'est vraiment la présence et l'influence de la religion catholique.
On a relevé un problème. En Pologne, en ce moment, l'avortement est légal pour les femmes dont la grossesse se passe mal, c'est-à-dire que le fœtus est en danger ou que la femme est en danger, et en cas de viol.
Donc il n'est pas accessible pour l'ensemble de la population.
Voilà.
Féminine.
Ça peut pas être un choix pour la femme, vraiment.
Donc dans la société polonaise, c'est vraiment remis en cause, que ce soit donc pour l'abolition de l'avortement en général, ou bien justement le contraire, pour pouvoir élargir l'accès à l'avortement.
Il y a un débat qui se crée entre plusieurs
parties. Ouais, exactement.
On vous laisse avec la vidéo, on espère qu'elle va vous plaire.
No, I don't think there is a large inequality, but of course inequality exists. If you look at for example, how much women and men make in a salary for the same position, men are paid better than women. I think we still have probably, I think in families and so on, children are raised a little bit differently when they are girls or boys. So I think girls have less freedom than boys. Girls are probably required to be, raised like ladies and behave differently than boys. But I don't think that we have a large inequality. For example, in a university, we have a lot of female professors. And it's been like that for many, many years, so this is nothing new. So I don't think it's bad, but we could make some improvements.
In general, I think I've been living in Krakow for all my time spent here in Poland, so I think that community here is quite open. So I would say that women are just the same as men, and it's really the same at work or in the daily life. But from the other perspective, I think that in smaller cities there is still this stereotype that we men are like more should care of home, of children, and man is like, this hunter and he should bring home money and food. Even though it sounds like this, in general I think there is some small inequality, and I've heard about salaries, they are still like for women they are lower. But in cities like this I think it's quite equal.
I would say medium.
Yeah.
Because it's not visible, like generally not in the law, etc. But it is in the perception of some things. For example, still women feel a little bit, how do you say that?
Underpowered.
A bit underpowered, but also feel pushed to fulfill some roles for traditionally meant for women. So it's hard for them to, for example, be at the same time a great mother and at the same time make a career, etc. Because still most of the families, even unconsciously, think that taking care of the children is woman's role. So for example, if the kid cries on the party, everybody is looking for a mother, not the father.
That's true.
Maybe salary.
Yeah, salary and maybe
The payment, salary. This is the biggest problem.
But I think in Poland it's not a problem, because maybe in small cities or something, but in big city there's not a problem anymore.
I can say also that the Polish men are very proud, and this is not for view for them to have less or equal money than women. And I think every man has something like this in his mind, because I think also girls want to feel protected by men.
Yeah.
And some way money can give that.
If you would earn more than me, I would be actually happy. But you're older.
In Poland, it's a very Catholic country, of course. So the thing is that women really try hard with this child thing, childbirth and so on. So it's one of the main things here in Poland, just to fight for this. But I've never been part of this discussion because in Ukraine it's slightly different. But I know that there are a lot of things happening here, and women are really try hard just to change things about it.
No. No,
I think religion protects.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so, because woman is in many religions is downgraded to the one that's supposed to give birth to a child or children and just take care of child or children. But not every woman wants to have children, right? Some women have other aspirations, so yeah.
Especially in smaller cities, yes.
Yeah, of course. Well, I guess the thing is that the church it's based on traditions, and it's a lot harder for it to catch up with society. So it's not really a problem that it's a religion thing, but the religion has just to adapt and change some things that come from Bible, which is old, and which was written by people who lived in a totally different ages, and the women were treated then totally differently. So even if you think that these people should be good, but they treated women not very well, it's just when they lived. It's not really because of religion. It's how they were, in what society they lived.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. So I think religion is if you ask me about Poland and mostly Catholic religion, of course. So women are still, when you come from a religious family or you're religious yourself, I think you are required to be a good wife, and you should marry and have children. And of course there is a question about family planning, abortion, and things like that. So of course, yeah. So I think this is religion is a problem when it comes to female rights, when it comes to reproductive rights of the female.
Yeah, I guess it is, because most of the people are very religious, and they feel like the fetus is already a human being, so it's not it's a sin, and it's a crime to terminate it, and it's hard for them to see it differently. That's why it's a very sensitive subject.
We are speaking about it every day in media, I think. In Poland, this is the subject of many talkings in television and radio, even in the streets. Sometimes every month something is happening, and this talk about abortion.
Now it's 3 options of abortion, like when it's dangerous for women, when it's really, really sick, when the child is sick, and when it's rape. So, and I think it's good now, but they want to change it from like never or
too much.
So not good enough for both.
Yes.
And actually we would state it like it's now, but everyone wants to change it from like women can do abortion wherever they want to, without informing men, which is child. So it's not good for me, but
Never-ending story.
Yes.
Subject.
And actually now it's good, but they want to change it, so I don't know when and why they will, but we will see.
In Poland it's illegal, but still a lot of girls do abortion. They just go outside of Poland. So
It's not allowed. It's only under some circumstances. So it's still not there, but they are trying to pass the law that abortion will be completely prohibited in Poland.
No. Maybe when you are informal, informal meeting, yes, of course. But when you are friends,
No.
yes, come on.
Actually, you would told, I don't know, maybe you can talk to your friend about it, but you can use best friend actually, but like friend, I don't think so.
No, of course, because when you're talking about
But-
to everybody, you are crazy. When you're talking between your friends, it's normal, typical.
But I think it's like everyone says that it's so bad. Like
I said we're
it's
gonna argue.
no. But I think it's taboo.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Like nobody is really saying about this. People feel embarrassed, to say like openly, I don't feel well today because I have my period. But nobody will say this, So, and I think there's also not much understanding that every month girl has a period and she might feel worse. So, in that sense.
I don't
What's
know.
your opinion?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, people don't like talk about it. Don't like seeing
Yeah, it's-
red things on commercials.
It's blood, but it's a bad blood.
Yeah. No, definitely
Totally
not.
not. Yeah, and that's a big problem. There's a
It's
educational
not-
shift
yeah.
right
It's
now
not-
in Poland. Because of the ruling party, we've got a problem with the educational targets. No,
Yeah.
educational targets, and they believe that sexual education is not a good way to educate young people.
Well, I guess they still thinking that if you teach children about sex, they will do it, which
Yeah.
is stupid.
Totally.
But yeah, and it's totally up to a school, I guess, because there's. Is there a is there any
Way to
manual from the government?
No.
I'm not sure.
No,
There
there's
was
not.
there was one, but it wasn't really a good one.
And it's through the whole educational process from the beginning to the graduation. Polish children has more religion lessons than any other subject. Maybe Polish or maths, but like you've got religion every year from classes from 1 to 8. A day a week. Oh, yeah, an hour a week. So that's quite a lot.
No, because
Really.
they are just telling us about
It also depends on the school, because when it's private school, sometimes there are classes when they're talking about it, but in the state schools, there is no classes about it. Sometimes only accidentally.
and it's more about family and that we will become parents someday and something like
Relationships
that.
in family,
Yes, but no about
strong relations.
how to protect ourselves or something like that.
I don't know how it is now, but I heard that it's very bad. That is because we have very extreme right government party. So I heard that now it's very bad. I don't know if it's there. I don't know, but if it's there, it's very bad. So it's like it's combined with religious theories and religious approach to the subject. So I think the quality of it is not very functional, so to speak.
Probably yes, especially nowadays.
Yeah, because before, for example, I remember I had sexual education when I was in elementary school, and it was pretty instructive. Now it was answering a lot of questions that young people have, and they are not feeling comfortable enough to ask those questions. And I think at this time it's not looking like this.
They are quite informed, I would say. Not sure whether it happens in families. If parents, I think parents are like more traditional and try to avoid these topics. But it's changing, especially once again in bigger cities. I think even parents are now like more speaking about that. But in schools and in universities, really, yeah.
Not enough. You know, in general, in schools you should learn about family and family planning, depending who's the teacher. So I think that some teachers are still teaching about family planning and contraception, but many teachers probably don't. And I think we really need to work on that. So they will teach you about, the main method of the contraception would be not having sex, which for young people it's not a good advice. So.
I don't know, because I
21st century, I don't know. It's getting closer and closer.
I think
maybe still girls have to, not have to, but they are watching this more carefully than men. But it's changing.
No, I think everyone now wants to be good in ourselves. So, like to, I don't know, to be just.
So that's
healthy.
why we are going to gym.
No.
No.
But I'm doing it for myself, actually.
But also, men like also have the same pressure.
In our relationship, Kuba is more like in front of the mirror and and taking care of the clothes, but in general, I think there's a bigger pressure on women to look good, and we are all the time being judged.
But it's not the pressure. I think that women would like to just have a very good look.
I think there is pressure.
It depends on a personal level, yeah.
I can say from a comparison with Ukraine, if you don't mind, I think that here in Poland it is more of express themselves as they are, follow the fashion and things, while for example in Ukraine, even though it is also Slavic countries, female girls want to show more their female side, rather walking on heels, have this bright makeup. Here in Poland it's slightly different. It is more of now what is fashionable, they try to stick to it. Like the more usual style, like this hair like a boy, it became very fashionable, so they are just go for fashion, I would say.
I think so. As in many societies, I think young women are, especially young women are really sort of concerned with the body image, and that creates many problems with anorexia and things like that. So. I think yes, but maybe in some other areas less so. So you probably shouldn't work at dark at some areas of Krakow if you're alone and if you're a woman.
Yes, I think.
It depends, because I don't know, I'm not feeling comfortable when I'm walking alone at night, because there's much people on the streets or something like that, and I prefer going with someone.
It's normal, but I think in Poland the amount of accidents is very low.
Yes, and today it's not a problem. Like, it's only because we are afraid someone will talk to us about some things, I don't know, or just some drunk people, something like that.
My opinion, Poland is one of the safest countries.
But no,
for
like
women.
terrorists or something like that, so that we are not afraid of.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Krakow is quite safe, I guess. But the smaller cities, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I guess sometimes it's less safer for men to go alone out, because there's more, I guess, more people who are looking for a fight than rapists, for example.
There are some places in every city, Krakow also, that are dangerous or not safe at least. And there are some towns that are more riskful. Yeah? but I feel safe in Krakow.
I would say from the perspective of living in Krakow, Krakow is a safe city, and I've also never heard of some harassment or things. And also I always have this secure feeling when I come back from a party, even if it is the middle of the night and I'm coming back all by myself, it's just fine. There are always police, there are always someone here, so I think it's quite secure. Yes, very much. I'm working in HR company, and the majority of people working there are female, and most of them are like team leaders, managers. So we just fine. Never felt any kind of issue with this.
For example, in marketing, more and more women, I think even more than men, at the position of director. So
now the woman's perspective now. So sometimes, you know, when you are reaching certain level at work and you just have one step more to be a director, it's very difficult to make this one step. So you are being kept on this like senior management role, but you cannot make it higher, you know. So.
but for example, I work in advertising and my clients are women.
Yes, actually, because at our university was a lawyer who said that women are better at work because they doing it like really carefully, and they are thinking about everything what they are doing. And actually,
I think it's natural for women to command in some sort, in some way, because in the family, when you have a woman, she is the neck of the family. She is holding everything, and it is similar to things that boss have to do.
I think it's much easier because I don't know, 40 years ago we had only children and something like that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's still, if you look at how many women you have in the high-level executive positions, it's much less than men.
And why, in your mind?
I think it's tradition. I don't think women are less deserving or less smart or less educated or less intelligent, but I think it's just mostly sort of the tradition that you would rather have a man than a woman.
No.
Woman has two jobs, day job and a home job, and man has one job.
Absolutely. It's still, you know, there are some progressive families in which people will share their duties, parental duties, but in many families, I think people still think that this is a woman's job to be a mother and to take care of children.
And how we can change that in your mind?
One would be the policy that make men to take paternity leave and take care of children. That's I think the first thing. So force them to do it.
You can take half a year for women.
Women can take half a year,
or the whole year, but on 75% wages. And
half a year is, I guess, 100.
It's a total wage, and a father can take half a year.
I am not sure. I think that when the baby is born, you can take a few days off if you are a man, but you cannot go full way for the maternity leave. So it's not like 50-50 that either a woman or a man can do the maternity leave.
And no.
Not at all, I think.
Actually, there is a huge fight about it because women wants to earn money like the men. I think it's the same in our age, but on the places like our parents' works or something like that.
Managers, directors.
Yes, something
Different
like
salary
really,
for them.
really high, and they earn more than women. But actually, now I earn the same like my friends who doing the same time and the same work.
I think it's still changing in Poland, but there is a lot of time.
But there is
We need a lot of
actually
time to
something
change it.
like that people who gave us work are afraid of. Think that we said that we are earning not that much, so they are giving us like the same price. So that's why.
No way. No, women. I think women earn 1/3 less than men here in Poland.
But it's getting better.
I am not
Getting better.
noticing it. Maybe because women were not present so long in the working environment, because Poland was and still is a very traditional country, so a lot of women still stay at home with children.
But it's the process.
maybe
It's the
that's
process. So it will take time, but definitely it goes in the right direction.
Yeah, I think women in Poland, especially in big cities, they have this warrior mentality. So they really are up and saying that they are not, not fine with this how it is. So I hope it will change.